Okay guys, we're back this week. Hopefully you guys were able to use some of that stuff that we learned from last week. Guys, I'm telling you, I handed out the table this week of the HyperKey table. So it was a sheet on the HyperKey table. For those of you that take the class online, I'm sorry. If you can go on and get the table, then please do it. I think one of the students had told me that she had Googled it and was able to find it. And then you just print it. So it's good stuff. And it's gonna look, there's not really, but it's all of these things right here. But in a different context. So it kind of sets it up the way that the keyboard is with the one on Google. So if you can Google Eclipse HyperKeys table, I don't know if it'll, see if it'll come up. And hopefully it'll, you can get it. Trust me guys, you need to get it. If you're taking this class online, absolutely get it, all right? Any questions about the stuff that we covered so far? How do you get in the HyperKeys? Slick? Alt-Z. How do you type text? N. Word endings? Prefix, suffixes? W. Delete a word? Mark something? M. And if you mess up on something, how do you fix it? Oops key. Z. Z. Okay? Something that we went over last week, and I'm going to show you guys again, is this type over type tracking or whatever. So I'm really not going to go through the visualizer again. We kind of did it last week, but what they do is right here. Okay, so the little exercise, and I don't know if you guys did it or not. Did you? Anybody? Slick? This one, where it says your turn. Where it says your turn, it's an exercise. So wherever you see your turn in blue. Okay, what they're telling you right here, and I'm going to show you this for a reason, because like say you go through and you're taking the deposition of Mr. Krzyzewski, okay? Well, you spelled it wrong every time. Well, you globaled it and you spelled it wrong every time. No big deal, okay? And say you're going through the document and you learn in the document, you know what, I totally forgot, whatever. You can global it at the beginning of the thing, will probably fix it, okay? But I'm going to show you another way that if you put a word in there and you meant to use another word, that this is the way you do it, okay? And right here they're telling you that to insert the word new before each instance of program, okay? So everywhere that they have program in these little things, they want you to replace it with new, okay? So you put your cursor at the beginning of the word. You're in HyperKeys, which is shown by the thick prompt. HyperKeys, and that's indented, okay? So 3 things will tell you that HyperKeys are on, all right? So what they want you to do is insert. So how do you insert? In, and you type new. Do not space over, okay? Do not space over. Press enter, takes you back into HyperKeys. Enter again, deletes the word, okay? Now if you messed up, you're like, oh no, you know what? Push Z, Z takes you back. Got it? All right, check this out. So now you've already done it. You've already put new. I'm going to go in here and do it again. But you come in here, how do you insert? N, N-E-W, enter, enter, it's gone. Okay, now you've already done it. So now they want you to do it every time. So now instead of having to do it all over again, what they do is, how do you insert? N. Well, look what it does. It already puts new in there. Because it remembers that last time that you replaced program, you replaced it with new. Okay? So they want you, they said last time you did it, it was for that. Do you want to do it again? Absolutely. Press enter, enter, takes it away. You see what it just did? Awesome. Good stuff right there. Remember that. That's typing over type tracking. Okay? Good. Good stuff right there. So now they're just kind of doing it again. So if you have it on your system, do it. If you're able to do it, do it. You know, you're in HyperKeys. How do you insert? N. Type in system. Enter. Enter. Does it. Come down here. How do you insert? Huh? N. Put system. Enter. Enter. Gone. See? Good stuff. All right? Got it?
Yes.
All right. And that's what we just did, type over tracking. I'm not going to go over this, mouse and key commands. This was all stuff that, I mean, we've already kind of gone over. Some of the stuff that it's kind of redundant. They just kind of keep doing it in some of these lessons. And all it is about the mouse. We went over the mouse last week, okay? Toolbar configurations is kind of the same thing. And this is the toolbar up here. Remember that we did that? And you can kind of go in and configure it to whatever you want. We're not going to do it again, okay? So y'all remember how to do that? Come up here into Windows, View, yeah, and it lets you do whatever, okay? So you can do the 1 through 6 or whatever you want, or kind of set it up to whatever you want, all right? You can do the pop-up, auto magic, all of that stuff, the font, whatever, okay? So that's how you do it, is in Windows, all right? So you want to take them all off, you can. You want to put them all on, you can. Whatever you want to do. So we're not going to go over that again. Okay, one thing they're going to show you right here is, you know, like contractions on words and stuff like that. And there's an easy way to do it. A lot of times the auto magic is going to kind of have it already over here. The little auto magic bar is going to kind of do it already. But if you don't, then it's telling you right here. So put your cursor on its and do Shift F10 and see how it gives you the option now. Do you want the contraction or just do you want the word? Got it, Slick? Huh? Put your cursor on its and do Shift F10 and it should bring up a little box like that. Okay. No big deal, okay? Auto magic, like I said, is usually going to have probably that thing, but if for some reason it doesn't, then that's how you do it. Shift F10, okay? And it's going to give you the different options of, you know, whatever. Got it?
Yes.
Any questions?
No.
What are you yelling? they're showing you a different way to do God, I can't even think of it. My mind just went blank. Sorry, guys. A field. This is called a field. And how to fill in a field. Okay. This isn't the easiest way to do it. But if you want to do it that way, you can. Okay. To me, the easiest way when you're in HyperKeys, you can be anywhere in the document and press E, and it'll take you right to it. Yeah. E will take you to a blank field. And even if it's not blank, it'll take you to a field. Okay? And then it brings it up. So say you're taking the deposition of Nancy Drewston. And you put Nancy Drew. It's supposed to be Drewston. No big deal. Change it. Okay. Change it to Nancy Drewston. We'll say it was on June 21st. And you put the 20th. No big deal. You go in and change it. Boom. It's done. So what it'll do is it'll keep going to the next field. Okay? It'll keep taking you to the next field to fill in the blank. All right? So a lot of times where you put the witness's name, it's going to remember it, what you put on there. A lot of times. It didn't put Drewston for some reason, but it put the Nancy Drew, and it could be because it's in this little lesson or whatever and already set up, but no big deal. So, you know, if it comes up like that, it's no big deal. Put your cursor there. It's in a totally different font. Oh, it's lowercase. Drewston, bang, E. Okay? All right.
What most Eclipse users don't realize is that many Windows Explorer functions are available whenever you see a listing of file names. So if I highlight this file's name, I can simply press the delete key to send this file to the recycle bin. I could also highlight a file's name and either right-click or press Shift F10 to open a context menu. You notice I can rename the file from here, delete it, copy it, cut it, perhaps paste it, and there's also the option to send to the desktop to create a shortcut, which will make it easy to reopen a file that won't be transcribed in a single sitting.
No big deal right there. It really isn't. Huh?
Just making your file.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you some options on what you can do. I mean, you don't need to save the file, but it gives you the option to save it, cut and paste it, send it somewhere. You can send it to the desktop like he was saying, which is kind of redundant because like if you're working on the file, all you have to do is get out. Next time you get in, it's going to be the #1 option when you get back in. Remember that? Remember when I told y'all about, you know, the last file that you went into? And if not, then you come up here to this little thing up here and it says recent, open recent, and it'll be in there. So even if it was the 7th file that you did, usually it has like 10 or 12 or 15 files, the last 10, 12, 15 files that you worked on, okay? So, I mean, what they just showed you right there, it gives you different options, like you can come here to recent, and see how many it gives you? 16. It even gives you some other whatever. But these are the last ones that I worked on, last little jobs of, you know, Ortiz, Howington, you know, whatever. And then I looked at, and you know, it'll tell you, that's the last thing we worked on was the HyperKeys. So even like that, even the tutorials it'll give you. So the last thing that you worked on, it goes back to. We'll say it was the 10th thing or the 12th thing, and I need to go back to Howington. I can go back to Howington. push 12, or come down here and just highlight it. Boom, push it, it goes in. Okay? So no big deal. All right? Got it? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, that's the end of that one. So now we're going to go to movements. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time. How do you make it larger? You get to leave early. Okay, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this, guys, just because it's stuff that we've kind of already gone over. Okay? And all this is the movements and hyperkeys. Okay? And you already know. Up, down, left, right, blah, blah, blah. I, J, K, L. I is what? K is what? J is left, and L is left. L is right. Okay? So no big deal right there. And it's going to tell you right here. Those are the ones, Slick, that you're going to use the most. Okay? These are the ones that you're going to use the most. So practice those as much as you can. Okay? Your movements are going to be, and then it's going to become second nature. It really is. The more you start using it, okay? So now it tells you that when you use the shift, on, which is the capital J, capital K, L, and I, now it's going to do something different, okay? And it's going to go over like a character or down a sentence. Okay? So now that you use the shift, because it's the one that you don't really use the most. So they want you to get your hands off or whatever for the one that you use the least. The one that you use the most is a small I, small k, small j, and small l. Okay? No big deal right there. One thing that's pretty neat is they have a spell check. Okay? Alt-S. Alt-S is spell check, okay? So you do Alt-S and see how it comes up? It brings you a thing. Well, did you mean eclipse, eclipser, eclipsed? And you can do a bunch of things. You can find out the definition of these things. It's pretty cool. So just put it on some word in there. You can put it on speed keys, use, similar, it doesn't matter. Alt-S, write that down. Alt-S. Did you do it, Slick?
On the state test,
huh?
on a state test,
yeah.
Is it okay to use that to spell a word and find the definition?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think you can even go through, and there's a thing up here.
You should be able to, because you're allowed to take a dictionary to the oral portion of the examination.
Yeah.
Just not to the written portion.
And it's not on here because it's on the lesson or whatever, but there's an icon up here for spell check. And you can go through, put it at the beginning of the document, and it goes through and spell checks the whole thing. Okay? But say you want to know eclipse, but you want to know the definition of eclipse. Is that the way you even spell it? Is it I-C-L-I-P-S-E or is it E-C? Type it in, check it, or maybe you meant to put eclecticisms, or whatever. No big deal. Go into eclecticisms and it'll tell you right there what the definition is. Pretty cool. Way cool. I don't know if y'all have it on the student version or not. You might want to check and see. Do you?
Yeah.
Guys, use that. Use it. Okay? Alt-S. And at the end of the job, or at the end of your test, always spell check it. If you can spell check it, spell check it. Okay? So once you're done, say, oh man, I got it. I got it. And you know what? You missed one word. You missed passing the test because you misspelled one word. You know? I mean, it only takes a second. It only takes a second. I don't know why it's not coming up.
Can you check and see if it works? Are you only allowed to pull that, or do you have your little document you worked on earlier? So I didn't know if it works just because we're in the program, or if it works on that other.
What's that?
Oh, sometimes you have to go back and check to see if it works because it's in a lesson player, not because it's in a student version. But I would assume that it would probably work.
Do y'all have spell check?
Definitely not. Just give me a minute because I have to go and pull up. Oh my gosh, you made me go pull up my trash.
Sorry.
And you may have to be in a job to do it.
Yeah, we're gonna.
You may have to be in a certain job. So get in a job and see if you have it. It should be right around this area right here. If you have it.
Yeah, it works. All right, good.
The spell check works? Okay. Guys, use it. It's so dumb to miss a test because you just misspelled a word. Okay? Ridiculous. And any little help you can get, use it. Use it. And use that Alt-S. Okay? You guys know about the Alt-OS printer?
Outsource.